and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and something kind of fun, and that's going to be a new series that I'm going to be starting. Basically where I read my favorite booktubers' favorite books and see how I feel about them, because the funny thing with me is that a lot of the booktubers that I really love, I don't have similar taste in books with. Today, as you guys can tell by the title, we are going to be doing Books and Lala, and although she and I both like to read horror and thriller, is probably both of our favorite genres, I would say. She reads a lot of other genres as well, whereas I typically tend to stay mostly within the horror and thriller genres. Sometimes I do fan out a bit, but I guess I read some fantasy too, but some lower end fantasy, but yeah, she reads a lot of like more contemporary and stuff like that, whereas I don't typically read that. But the thing that's funny about us is that we typically have different tastes, even in the thriller and horror genre. So it's going to be really interesting to me to find out what her favorite books are and to see how I end up comparing. I just thought it would be kind of a fun experiment to do. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just take a look here and see if we can find, I imagine she's probably done a video where she discusses her favorite books, I think. Okay, so I am going to go on here and I'm going to search for books, Books and Lala, favorite books, and see what she comes out with. I know she does the, like, her favorite books of each year, but I'm wondering if she has ever done like just her all-time favorite books. Yeah, so we have 10 favorite books of 2020, favorite books of 2021, reading the 10 plus best horror books of the year, rereading my favorites. Yeah, it doesn't look like she's ever really done a video where she just talks about her all-time favorite books, which is interesting. I would think that she would to have done that video. So do I just do like her favorite books of last year, or do I do her favorite books, recent favorites, 5 recent favorite books and quarterly stats? Okay, should I just do her favorite books of last year, or should I do like her favorite books, because she's made this video a couple of times? Let's just do her favorite books of last year. Yeah, let's just go for that. So I like to, as you guys might have noticed on my channel, I like to do like 5 favorite books. So let's just do that. So I'm thinking if I just go through her top, like all of her favorite books of 2021, and I just pick out the ones that I think I will most like, that probably is going to be making for a most successful challenge. So let's take a look here.
Hello friends, it's Kayla, and it's finally time to talk about my favorite books of 2021. Tinfoil Butterfly by Rachel Eve Moulton. This is what I would call a harrowing, contemporary, slow horror story. It's about this woman named Emma who, through a bunch of difficult life circumstances, ends up abandoned on the side of the road and finds a child. A little boy named Earl has a strange encounter with him and his tinfoil mask, and they end up on a journey of survival together, and Emma feels like she needs to protect this child and figure out what's going on in his strange world. Up in the number 8 position is Mrs. Death by Selena Godin. This is another one of the most unique books that I've read, especially in like perspective and writing style. We're following 2 main characters, Death, who is personified, and Wolf, who is being tasked to write Death's story, memoir. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and really it's just because it was fun and it gave me everything that I'm looking for in a thriller. It was surprising, It was over the top and just generally fun and fast paced. It has a setup I really enjoy. 6 friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder. We're mainly following a main character who is determined to show up to this reunion being like perfect and having everybody see her as having it all together. And obviously everybody at this reunion, as we will come to find, has different motivations for what they want out of the weekend, including one person who is determined to find out who murdered a girl in their friend group, Heather, back when they were in college. Is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Jade is obsessed with the slasher genre. She loves movies, she writes essays, and she's trying to convince everyone around her that she believes a slasher movie is coming to life around them. She's casting everybody in her mind as different, like, typical tropes in a horror movie. And one of the biggest payoffs of this is that like half of the tropes are spelled out to you, and it's Jade recognizing like, hey, this girl that I just met is a stereotypical final girl. Here's everything she has to do to fulfill her destiny in this narrative. But then half of it is just subtle, like nuanced things that you as the reader recognize as horror tropes. My favorite book of the year, and the one that I'm going to fail in explaining the most, is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Part of the thing about House of Leaves is it's exhausting. It's intentionally exhausting and frustrating, and you have to be okay with that and recognize that as not like an enjoyable part of the reading experience, but an important part of the reading experience. So the plot, we have this guy named Johnny, and he basically, per different situations, finds a series of documents talking about a movie. So you're reading Johnny's thoughts and just like his life experiences after he encounters this collection of documents, and then you're also reading the collection of documents, and then you're also experiencing the film that is being referenced, which follows a man and his family moving into a house and them discovering there are weird things about the house. And then they bring in a whole bunch of other people and everybody tries to figure out what's going on in the house.
Okay guys, so it is a little while later. So I finished watching Lala's video, and as you can see, I'm in bed. I got my skincare going. I gotta try and be a little bit quiet because I've got both my kids on either side of me, so obviously don't want to wake them up. But so what I decided to do was I just went through her video, her 2021 favorites, and I picked out the ones that I thought that I would like the best. So we're gonna end up going with Tinfoil Butterflies by Rachel E. Moulton, Mrs. Death by Selena Golden, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, and House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. So I did have a hard time finding these. I wanted to see if I could find them on Book Outlet because I would like to purchase my own copies of them, but they weren't on Book Outlet. So I looked on Book Depository, and on Book Depository a couple of them were really expensive. Like House of Leaves was $50 on Book Depository, so I was really confused. And one of the other ones was like $40, and I was like, what is happening? So then I looked on Libby to see if I could get some audiobook versions of them, and I placed a couple of holds on Libby. So I have a hold for In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and that is the ebook, which I don't typically like reading ebooks at all. So we'll see. And then I was able to place a hold on My Heart is a Chainsaw for the audiobook. So we'll see. The audiobook, the hold on it is 26 weeks from now. So I don't, we'll see. And then I went to my local library and I placed holds on all of the books, the physical copies. So hopefully those can get to me soon. Most of them were available, so hopefully I'll be able to get those within the next couple weeks or a week or so. They didn't have any at my local library because I live in a small town, so So our branch is pretty small, but they're gonna ship it to my library so I can pick it up. So we will see. But basically I can't really start until my books get here, unless I want to like maybe buy one of them on audiobook. We'll see. I'll see once the ones that I ordered from my local library get here. I'll see what all ended up showing up, and then I'll see what is left, and I might just end up buying an audiobook, because I typically read a lot more audiobooks than I do physical reads, just because with 2 small kids it's really hard to find time to actually physical read. And I get through a lot of audiobooks trying to put my kids to bed, like when I'm rocking my son to bed. I have, for those of you that might be new here, I have a 4-year-old and I have a 14-month-old. And when I rock my 14-month-old to bed, or in the middle of the night if he wakes up and I'm rocking him back to sleep, I get through so many audiobooks doing that. So anyways, yeah, there's really nothing else I can do for this challenge until my books arrive. So I will check back in with you guys when that happens. Hi guys, so it is a day later. I am still in my bed, not still in my bed. But I am in my bed again. And one of my library reads came in. So I picked up Tinfoil Butterfly today from my local library. I'm not sure when the other books are going to get here, but I at least have this one. So I'm actually pretty surprised. It looked a lot bigger in Lala's video. So it's only about... It's 254 pages, so hopefully I can get through it fairly quickly. But as of right now, I am reading Mitch Albom's newest book, The Stranger in the Lifeboat, and I am only about, let's see, what page I'm on here. Am I even focused? Sorry, you're just seeing my mouth. Best booktuber ever. I'm on page 60. But this is a pretty short book as well. I think it's about 200 pages also, so it's a very fast read. So I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow. Right now I have to do some editing for both my channels, and then I would like to get a little bit of reading done tonight. Yeah, this book is only 271 pages, so hopefully I can finish that tomorrow, and then I can start Tinfoil Butterfly. So that is my little update. So I will check back in with you once I actually start reading this. I just wanted to give you an update that I have received the book. I don't like to do... The most that I'll do at one time is one physical book and one audiobook at the same time, because I feel like I'm going to get confused if I'm reading 2 different books at once. That's just, I just don't like doing it. So that's why I want to finish this one before I start this one. So anyways, yeah, I'll check back in with you when I actually start reading this one. Hi guys, a little bit of change of scenery. I'm still in a bed. I'm in a different bed. We are doing some renovations to our house, and so I came with my 2 kids to stay at my mom's for a little while, just because there's a lot going on there. And we have a little bit of a lull for the next few days with nothing happening, but our house is a construction zone, so I thought I'm going to take these few days to come and visit my parents and just kind of relax and not live in the middle of a construction zone. So that's been great. I just started this morning Tinfoil Butterfly by Rachel Moulton, and I'm 77 pages in. I'm just about to start chapter 6, and I'm really not sure how I'm feeling about it. Like, I feel kind of like icky about it. I feel a little bit disturbed, kind of, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's not overtly scary. Like, the first chapter was kind of scary and I thought it was going to go in a different direction. But now it's unsettling is what it is. I'm not sure if I like the main character or if I'm supposed to like the main character. She seems somewhat unlikable, but also there's a backstory there that we haven't gotten the full scope of yet. And so that I'm thinking that backstory is why she is the way she is, and we haven't quite figured her out yet. But things are happening to her that she's either having some really bad luck, or I'm not sure if she's maybe not in her right frame of mind, like if the things that are happening to her isn't actually happening, or if she's just on this weird adventure that she keeps having some bad luck with. I'm not sure. So about 77 pages in. I'm hoping to read a little bit more today of it. I definitely won't finish it today. Just also trying to hang out with the family, but I wanted just to pop in and give you guys a quick little update on how it's going with the first book. So far, I don't really love it. If I had to give it a rating right now, I'd say maybe a 2.5. I'm not really, I mean, I'm interested in it. I want to know what's going on, but I'm also like, I just don't particularly like books that leave me feeling this way. Like I feel unsettled. So hopefully that will start to clear up as the book comes along. I'm not sure. Like the setting is unsettling. The character just not really being on the character side yet is unsettling. Like it's all adding to it. So I don't really know what to think so far. Hi guys. So I'm now updating you quite a bit later. It has been a few weeks since I last updated you, and I have finally finished Tinfoil Butterfly. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot to say. First of all, I gave this a 1. So Lala, girl, I love you, but so far you're failing me. Now, and the thing is, this took me forever to read. It's only 260 odd pages, 261 pages. This should have taken me like a couple of days to read. And it took me like a couple of weeks. So, oh, my battery's gonna die. And also don't mind the mess in the back. We're renovating our house right now, so it's just a mess everywhere. You look. But so it was a combination of things that took me this long to read it. Number one, like I said, we're doing renovations and I'm doing a lot of the work myself. So my evenings and any free time have been spent working on the house. Secondly, I found that this kind of started to put me in a reading slump because I didn't like it, and I should have just DNF'd it, but I really don't want to DNF any of the books in this challenge because I really want to push myself to maybe like something that I wouldn't typically like. So I pushed through with it, but sorry, I had to change my battery. So anyways, what always happens to me is whenever I am reading a book that I'm not connecting with for whatever reason, it can put me into a reading slump where I just don't want to read because I know that when I go to pick up the book, like I know that I'm going to be reading this book and I don't care about the book. So I just end up not reading. I'll end up watching TV or doing whatever, and then it takes me forever and a day to finish it. So I was lucky that this book was so short because had it been a longer book, I mean, I still probably wouldn't be done. So, but I had a lot of issues with this book, and that was in the beginning. I think I had already told you guys this, was that I was not connecting to the main character whatsoever. She was fairly unlikable. It wasn't connecting with her. Throughout the book, you know, there was one point especially, I don't want to give spoilers away, but there's one point where the main character is in a situation where she has an opportunity to get out of a very hairy situation. We'll just say that. She has an opportunity, and it's not really, it's almost like the writer wants you not to think of that opportunity. Like she's in a situation and you're thinking to yourself, well, why doesn't she just do this? But she does, but the thought doesn't even occur to the main character to do that. And it's like the most obvious thing. And you're like, well, you could just completely get yourself out of this situation if you just did this. But of course she doesn't. And so she kind of just keeps herself in that horrible situation. And so that was kind of like, I mean, that's more towards the end of the book, probably the last quarter of the book that happens. But so we would miss the whole ending of the book if she just does what you want her to do. And so that was, I was just really surprised that Lala gave this such a high rating for that reason alone, is that it just wasn't believable. It made it not believable, and it just made it like annoying. Just like, okay, there's no way that she would do this. So, and then the ending was just completely you don't really find out what happens in the ending. You kind of are left wondering, and I think that's, if I remember back to the video, I think that's what Lala liked about it, but I don't like that. Like, I just feel like that's a cop-out, and I just don't like this. I'm having such a hard time, and it's been a couple days since I finished this book, and I'm just having such a hard time putting my thoughts into words because I just can't. I just trash. Just trash. It wasn't for me whatsoever. So anyway, so that being said, so far we are 0 for 5. But I did get 2 of the other books that I ordered from my library have come in. So In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead has come in, and Mrs. Death by Selena Godin has come in. So I think out of the 2 of these, like, these both seem more interesting to me than the Tinfoil Butterfly did, but I think I'm gonna go for this one because this one, I think it's a thriller. This is the one, the six friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder. So this sounds like a thriller, and I think that this is gonna be more up my alley, and I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna like this one. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm gonna do this one, and then after that we'll do this one. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to relax a little bit. I'm gonna run myself a bath, maybe have a cup of tea, and get started on this one. And I'll let you guys know my first thoughts after I'm done. Okay, so you guys are just gonna get ready with me here for a minute. Oh, hang on. My lens is totally dirty. Is that better? Okay. So it has been weeks since I last updated you, okay? Things have been crazy. Like, I think I told you guys earlier that we have been doing renovations. Sorry, I'm just gonna be getting ready. So, we've been doing renovations, and it was a lot. So I've not had a lot of time for reading. So as such, I am still not through In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. And it is now overdue from the library, so I need to take it back. They will not let me renew it because it fulfills somebody's, like, somebody's on a wait list for it. So I am about halfway through it. On page 176. I'm really enjoying it so far, but I think I might have to suck it up and buy the audiobook for it because I really feel guilty because it is overdue from the library. So I feel like I should take it back. And I know I'm not gonna have time to finish it like in the next couple of days. So I really should take it back, I think. So I think what I might do is just suck it up and buy the audiobook from Audible, because it's not, like, on the audiobook version isn't available through my library. And yeah, so I think I might just have to suck it up. Dry shampoo for life. But we are going today into the city. I live about an hour away from the city in a small town. And we are going for a major grocery run today, so we're going to be hitting Costco and Walmart, and like I said, we live about an hour away, so I'll have about an hour drive there and back. And I listen to my audiobooks at like 1.7 or 1.8 speed, so I'm sure that I can probably finish this book today if I do that. So I think that's going to be the game plan. And then I can return this one, and then I'll just start reading the other one. What's it called? Mrs. What is it? Let me get it. Mrs. Death. I can start physically reading this one. And then I think I'm going to have to buy on audiobook the last selection, which I can't even remember anymore. It's been like weeks since I started this video. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So far with In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, I am really enjoying it. I'm really unsure about how to feel about our main character. She's not a very likable character. Like, she definitely has a lot of issues. And I'm not sure where the story is going. Like, I'm not sure if one of these characters is responsible. Like, a lot of them feel responsible for their friend's death years earlier. But I am beginning to get the hint. Well, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I feel like I think I know who it is. And I'm just curious if I'm going to be correct or not. Like, I feel like if I'm correct, then it won't be much of a reveal. And so then I would be really surprised that Kayla would rate this a 5. There's not really a twist. But there has to be a twist, because I feel like it's really being set up right now for what I think. So there has to be a twist coming. But we're getting to know the characters. They really seem like kind of an unlikely group of friends. So I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So I think that's what we're gonna do today. I'll check in with you guys later after I finish the book. Holding a soccer game tonight. We've got a lot going on today. Today's a busy day. So we have to get to the city and get back before 7 o'clock for soccer, which shouldn't be too hard, but we do have a lot of places that we need to go. So that's it. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Hey, I'm going to take off all my clothes and stream across campus. Harrow hissed. Fast, I whispered. But a strange thunder had started in the distance. It took...
You want to keep sitting in this chair. Okay, you guys, first of all, ignore the giant mess behind me. I don't even know. My parents are coming here in 2 days for my oldest preschool graduation, and I have so much to do in the way of cleaning. It is insane, and I've just like done nothing all day, so that's great. It is the next day. I am making supper, and so I finished My Heart is a Chainsaw last night. My Heart is a Chainsaw. I don't even know what book I'm reading, what is going on. I finished In My Dreams I Hold a Knife last night, and you know, I have to say, I did figure out who was responsible. Ignore my child. I did figure it out before the book actually revealed it. And so I was kind of thinking, I was like, I just don't understand, like, this book was really predictable. I don't understand why Lala liked it so much. And then, like, right at the very end, there came the twist. So I initially went on my Goodreads, like, when I was nearing the end, and I rated it a 3, and then after the actual ending, I went back in and changed it to a 4. So I definitely like this one a heck of a lot more than the butterfly one. Like, I've already forgot that book's name because I just never want to hear of it ever again. It was horrible. But yeah, so I definitely like this one more. I will say that it's not the best thriller I've ever read. I definitely wouldn't give it a 5. It was, like I said, I did figure out one of the twists, I guess. So it was a little bit predictable in that way. And the book really dragged on. Like, there was several points where I was like, okay, this book can wrap up and be done now. Like, but it just kept going and going and going. Which, I mean, I don't know. Like, I kind of saw the conclusion, how it was going to play out. Kind of had that all figured out. And I just feel like it could have wrapped up a lot sooner than it did. But in any case, I did give that one a 4 because it definitely surprised me at the very end. I have placed on hold at the library the audiobook for My Heart is a Chainsaw. That's where I had gotten that from. And I took a look at it and it's only 6 weeks away now, whereas when I first placed it, it was like 20 weeks away or something crazy. And then I just got a notification today that House of Leaves was ready to pick up. And I did start last night, Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death. I just barely started it. I'm on page 29. And so far, I really don't know what to think about it. It's a little weird, I will say that. The book is written, I initially thought, through Death's eyes, but it's not. It's written from the perspective of a boy who has seen Death firsthand. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, it's only 30 pages in, so I can't really give a good... But it already has made me feel, like, sad and also kind of, like, moved a little bit already in 29 pages. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to hopefully get to read a little bit more tonight. We'll see how much of my cleaning I get done. Because, I mean, you see, like, it's not looking good. And my basement is even worse than this. Like, I just don't even know. So, I will come back to you with an update when I have anything to report. You guys, excuse the look. Excuse the oily skincare routine. Excuse the granny nightgown. But, I'm now on page 111 of Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death. Like, what is this book even about? Kayla, what is this book about? You know, there are some parts where I'm like, this is really profound. Like, some little snippets that I'm like, this is a profound passage. Like, this is a book that I could be highlighting my way through. But it also makes no sense. And it's very weird. It's very choppy, pieced together. It's not a cohesive story whatsoever. You're getting snippets of things, and once you start to think that there is a story, then it jumps to something else that's unrelated, and I'm very confused as to what's going on. And if it wasn't for doing a challenge, I would be DNFing this so far. So that's where I'm at with it. But it's not, I mean, I'm almost halfway through, so I'm going to continue on and push through it. There's 302 pages, so I'm a third of the way through. I don't know. I'm hoping that it gets better. I'm hoping that something happens and that there starts to be a story. I don't know, but I'm very tired. And so is my kitty. And I'm going to go to bed now and read some more tomorrow, and hopefully things will start to make sense. So that's my update. Hi guys. It is a few days after my last entry. I don't even know. I've got the vid. I have gone this entire pandemic without getting it, but now I have it. And I wanted to pop on here. I'm so super tired. So I'll be probably going to bed soon, but I wanted to pop on here and do a quick update with you because I have been just trying to relax, of course, and I've been getting through some reading, and I am listening to My Heart is a Chainsaw on Libby, and I'm 60% of the way in, and I don't like it. Like, I don't like it at all. Nothing has happened. Literally nothing has happened. We're 60% of the way through,
and I'm not even sure if anything is going to happen. In the very beginning, like the very first chapter, the book kind of sets us up and actually creeped me out, and I was excited. Like after the first chapter, I was excited to continue listening. Basically, we are following this girl who, unless I'm reading this wrong or listening to this wrong, she lives on a reserve. She's Native American. She lives on a reserve from what I can gather. And she's extremely obsessed with 80s slasher movies, like to the point where it's all she thinks about, it's all she talks about. We're just getting her narration, and that's all she talks about. And she is setting up her life to become a slasher movie, basically. She is thinking that she's about to be in the middle of this slasher movie that we are now 60% of the way in, and nothing's really happening to support this. She is definitely mentally ill. And so we're not sure. I mean, there's definitely some weird things that are going on. Something is weird. It more points to me to being more of a supernatural force. But it's not, like, they're just little placements of like spooky things that are going on. Other than that, nothing is happening. It's all in this girl's mind. She's just like fast forwarding the narrative to so that she feels like something is happening, but nothing's actually happening. So I have 5 hours left, and I'm so over this book. I would have DNF'd it probably a long time ago. And I am also physically reading House of Leaves. I'm on page 88, and it's been a struggle to get through it. I will say, if you don't know anything about this book, which I didn't, this is definitely not a book for a beginner reader whatsoever. This is very hard to get through. So basically, the story follows kind of two narratives. We're following a young man who is trying to just kind of like find his way in life. And he stumbles upon, through a series of events, he stumbles upon this man's journal, kind of. Well, he's tried to write a book about, it's hard to even say what this book is about. There are these series of short films that were basically like home movies that have been kind of like leaked underground. And it's kind of got a cult following, I guess. And this old man had written a book kind of talking about that. And so on one hand of our journey, we are reading the book that this man wrote. But in the footnotes, basically our main character that we're following is kind of going through this journal, just kind of going through this book and editing it and putting in his own footnotes. Basically, the book wasn't finished, and this man is taking on the task of finishing the book, basically. But it's very difficult to read because there's all of these footnotes. Let me just try to find, like, there's the story that's going on, which is the book. That's the main story is the book. The side story is our main character and his life. And from what I can tell, he's kind of starting a descent into madness himself just by becoming obsessed with this work. And yeah. Okay, so let me just oh my goodness. Okay, so on this page is the book that we're reading, okay? And then up here, you can see there's a big line, and that all underneath this whole second page is a footnote. Okay, so you're reading two concurrent stories at once, and you have to kind of flip back and forth between, and it gets very confusing. And it also is really hard because when you get yourself kind of into the story, and then all of a sudden you have to stop and read a footnote, and so it kind of takes you out of what you're reading, kind of interrupts you. Okay, and you have to kind of flip back and forth to what you're doing. And then looking ahead, there's all of these, like, this book just gets weird. I looked on Goodreads because, okay, I looked on Goodreads because when I was at about 75 pages in, I was like, what is this book? Like, this is a really big book. It's 700 pages. It's very dense material. It's written in a way that's very hard to understand. You have to really take your time with it. So yeah, so I was like, what is this? So I went on Goodreads and I wanted to see what the average rating was, and the average rating was like 4.07. So I was like, it has like 143,000 reviews, or yeah, reviews. So I'm like, well, that's pretty high rating, which I didn't expect. I'm thinking people are gonna think this is shit. So I started reading a couple of the reviews, and I'm interested to keep going. Mostly because a lot of what I found out is that there is quite a cult following around this book, and apparently there is, from what I'm taking of it, like, this book is what you make of it. So, you know, there's our two main stories, and whether you read the footnotes and add to all that is up to you. Like, there's been some parts where I've just been skimming because it doesn't make any sense, or it's just really dry. So there's a few parts where I've just kind of been skimming through it. But there's like pages like this, okay? Oh, can you see that? Okay, so there's pages like this where for no reason at all, some text will be in different colors. And like, or randomly in the middle of a sentence, a certain word will be in a different color. Or even the footnotes will kind of change. Like, typically footnotes are annotated like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, all of a sudden in the middle of a footnote, instead of it being like 1 or 2 or 3, it'll be a symbol. There's just all sorts of kind of weird things that kind of go on in this book. Like, even like, look at this page. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But there's lots of talk in reviews about how there's a lot of symbolism discussed in this book, and how if you like want to kind of do a deep dive into this book and read it more than once, you can figure out some of the symbols, like that maybe there's an underlying kind of hidden story or something in here as well, which I don't think I'll be doing, but it's interesting all the same. And I guess there's like web pages and forums and everything that talk about this book and kind of try to decode some of the hidden sort of gems. And I mean, I don't know, if I've not gotten into that. I just thought it was really interesting. But yeah, I don't know if the author like is just trying to screw with everybody and just like put in all these random words and is like, oh, it's symbolism, and really it's nothing, or if there is some sort of hidden message in this book. I'm not too sure. Maybe once I'm done reading it. I started like reading more reviews and I started kind of spoiling myself a little bit, so I stopped. But yeah, maybe once I'm done, maybe I'll be interested to kind of go through and search into a little bit more of that. But yeah, this is very, I'm definitely more interested in this to keep going. Right now it's very dry, and I just feel like I want the story without all this extra stuff and all this extra work. But I haven't really gotten to any cool parts yet either. Like, supposedly in this book there's like passages that you have to read in a mirror, and there's like passages that go upside down, and like, I don't know, and you have to like turn the book, and it like, I don't know. So I'm kind of interested to see about all of that once I get kind of into those pages. My cousin, actually, I had found out from when I searched it on Goodreads that my cousin is in the middle of reading this. She's on page 400, and she's been on page 400 since like April was the last time she updated it. So I messaged her this morning, and I was like, what like, are you reading this book? And she's like, well, yeah, I've been reading it for months. That's why it's taking me forever. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like trying to decide like what the heck. And she's like, well, I wouldn't blame you if you DNF'd it because it's really hard to get through. And I'm being at page 400. I'm not sure if it's worth it at the end. I'm like, well, the Goodreads reviews say that it is. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of my update for right now. This, I feel, is going to take me forever. Like, I've been reading this for like 4 days. I'm only on page 88. So, I'm hoping to get to, before I go to bed, to get to at least page 100. But yeah, it's like a 700-page book, so I don't know. I will update you when I have further updates. I'm sick. I don't know. Bye. Okay, so I just watched that clip back because I wasn't sure if what I said even made sense. And I mean, I made sense, but I realized that I didn't even explain to you the plot of this book. I told you kind of how it's structured, but I didn't even really explain to you what's actually going on. So this series of short home movies that this book is being written about follows the Navidson records, or the Navidson files, and basically it is this family moves into this home and strange things start to happen in the fact that strange areas in the home appear. Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the family leaves for a weekend and they come back and there is a new hallway connecting their bedroom to their children's bedrooms that wasn't there before. And from the outside of the house, it's not there. Like, the outside of the house doesn't show it there. And just through kind of checking out this hallway, they kind of come to realize that it's bigger, the house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And then a couple weeks later, another room appears, and this room is crazy. So they get all these people in to kind of look at it, and it continually changes. So once again, it's a huge room this time that's added, and the dimensions keep changing. Like, and by huge room, I mean like 500 feet high. With like a staircase in it that goes down like basically to infinity, and like impossible, absolutely impossible, but it's not showing on the outside of the house either. So that's what these whole movies are kind of about. And the following around it is whether or not this was faked, or if it's real. And that's what kind of the movies are about. And then this old man was writing this book about these movies. So that's kind of our main story that we're following. And that's obviously the most interesting story to me. But then you just keep getting sidetracked by all this other stuff. So anyways, now that I've explained to you what the book is about, I'm going to go read.
Hello. It is days later. I'm feeling a lot better, and I have some updates for you. So I haven't updated in a while because I've been feeling like garbage. But okay, what should I update you on first? First, I will let you know that I finished. Oh, my cat is trying to move you. Sorry. I finished My Heart is a Chainsaw. That's what it's called? Yes. And I didn't like it. Well, I won't say I didn't like it, but I didn't like it as much as I had hoped I would. So I ended up rating it a 3. And to be honest with you, it's probably more of like a 2.75 maybe. We'll say it's a 3. What I didn't like about it was that nothing happened. Like, the entire book, my dog is scratching to come in, but she's fine outside. The entire story was just the main character kind of being really, what's the word? She's very neurotic. And we find out at the end, like, she definitely has a reason for why she kind of acts this way, but you know, she is obsessed with horror movies, and that's all that we hear throughout the entire book is all of this. She's just talking about horror movies the whole book and wanting to be placed in one in real life, basically. And she is convinced that she's about to be transported into a real life horror movie scenario that never happens. I mean, she's just so positive this is gonna happen. And then of course it's a thriller, like some stuff does end up, some stuff happens towards the end, but it's just such a build-up for action to take place within the last, I don't know, I would listen to it on an audiobook, and so maybe like the last 20 minutes maybe had action in it. The rest was just build up to that. So I found it to be pretty boring, especially for a thriller, and I wasn't connecting with the character at all. And I couldn't really get into it. I just found nothing happened. Like, it was just boring. I was just waiting for something to happen and nothing ever did. So we'll go for a 3 for that one. I'm a little disappointed in that one. But kind of a pleasant surprise that I'm having is House of Leaves. When I first started reading this, I mean, I updated you guys. I can't remember what all I said, but I was positive that I wasn't gonna like it. And I'm not done yet, but I am quite a far way. I also was positive this was gonna take me forever to read. I was worried that I was gonna have to buy my own copy because I was like, there's no way, like I'm gonna have to renew this like 7 times and they're probably not gonna let me because it can take me forever to read because it's very difficult to read and it's hard to get through. But what I have been finding is kind of that the more you read it, it takes a while to kind of get into the style, the writing style of it, but once you kind of figure it out, it becomes a lot more of a quicker read. And I'm just kind of noticing things about it. Like, I think I talked to you guys earlier about how there's like some hidden messages in here, possibly there's some symbolism in here, and kind of thinking about it from that perspective, I kind of have been noticing some things. I haven't been able to decode anything whatsoever, but I'm just kind of noticing some patterns and stuff in the book. And one thing that I will notice is that as things happen in the book, the writing, like the page layout differs. So when things get really chaotic, then you start finding like there's different, I think once again, I showed you guys, I think there's like some different, you know, the pages look different. So there's different, like you have to turn the page, you have to turn the book all different pages in order to be able to read it. And so things like that start happening on the page once the plot kind of gets that way. Same sort of thing when like they're exploring this House of Leaves, and when things get really dark and cramped and kind of scary, then we start noticing that the pages get fuller and fuller with text. But then when things kind of slow down or they get into kind of more open spaces, then there starts to be like, on some pages there's only like 1 word on the entire page, which is interesting. Like you get pages like this. So it's, yeah, like it kind of, the page layout kind of follows what's happening in the story, which is kind of cool. I will also say that the story, like if we just were following the 2 main stories, I mean, it would take maybe 200 pages and this book would be done. We get sidetracked a lot with a lot of like random facts and random knowledge. And there's a lot of things that I just kind of skim over, things that don't really pertain to the story. And I think that's all a part of like this House of Leaves, right? Some of the reviews that I've read have said that the book itself is supposed to be a house of leaves and kind of leave you feeling like trapped almost. And that definitely happens. Like it kind of wanders off into all these different areas, like just kind of like as when they're exploring these different areas of the hallway, we'll say, like it branches off into different corridors, and the book does the same thing. It kind of takes you down different routes and you kind of can choose what you want to pay attention to and what you don't. I just think that it's really, really cool, the writing style of it, and I'm really pleasantly surprised so far with it. Like I said, I'm not done. I'm on page 522. And I think there's like 700 and some pages in it. 709 or some, yeah, 709 pages. And I'm on page 522. I'm actually hoping that I'm gonna finish with this today, so we will see. But yeah, I'm so far I'm really pleasantly surprised. Like if I had to rate it right now, I'm gonna say a 4 right now, which is pretty good because when I first started it, I was like, what is this? Like, Lala, what are you doing to me? Like, why do you hate me? Is basically what I was thinking. So anyways, that is my update. I'm just waiting for Dawson to wake up. He is taking his nap, and then we are gonna go and take Penny for a walk and get supper going and all that stuff. And so once I'm done on my cleaning, then later on tonight I can kind of take some time to read some more, and hopefully I can finish up with this tonight. Fingers crossed. Okay, you guys, we are at the end of the challenge. I have finished House of Leaves, and I'm gonna stick with my 4 rating for it. So I am really pleasantly surprised at how much I actually like this. I kept wanting to read it. Like, it just, even though it was more of a difficult read, I just kept being drawn to it and wanting to continue reading it. Oh. Yeah. My baby and my puppy are playing together. So yeah, I'm just like, this was just such a cool concept, and the way that it was written, like I said, just the fact that it was like, it was really written brilliantly. The way that, like I said before, the pages of the book and the writing mirrored what was happening in the story was just brilliant. Like, it was really, really cool. And I definitely recommend this to anyone. It is hard when you first start getting into the book. It's hard to kind of figure it out. But once you kind of figure out and decide for yourself what you're gonna pay attention to and what you're going to not, like I said before, there's a lot of extra information and kind of stuff that's there that's meant to almost seemingly confuse you. But once you kind of decide, okay, I'm not gonna pay attention to that stuff and I'm just gonna focus on whatever. Like, if you want to focus on all that stuff and read everything in detail, I mean, go ahead. But I, for the most part, just focused on the 2 main stories, and I omitted all the extra like stuff. And I ended up really enjoying it. I was very, very surprised by this. So that is House of Leaves, and that wraps up our challenge. So what I will say, what I learned from this experience is that Lala and I do not have the same taste in books. So I think if I remember correctly, I rated something a 1, something a 2, something a 3, and then 2 4s. So, I mean, I guess that's not too bad, but, and I find that a lot with her, is that her and I, we differ on quite a bit, but there's a few things that we do have in common that we like. Will I continue to watch Books and Lala? Absolutely. She is still one of my absolute favorite booktubers. I don't know, she just really inspires me to continue reading. And to be honest with you, it was her vlogs, her fun reading challenges that inspired this reading challenge, and it actually helped inspire me to get back into booktube. So I really owe that to her, and I will absolutely continue to watch every video that she puts out because I love her. So anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this feature-length film. This video is very long, so if you have watched it all the way through and you're here at the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Let me know in the comments who you think I should do next, who I should read like next. And I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.